What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be going over two good, two bad, two ugly, and two absolutely great things that we saw from the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins game. But before we hop into today's video, guys, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. If you like the video and you like the content, hit the like button. It really helps us beat out the YouTube algorithm. But the most important thing, if you could do it for me, is leave a like on today's video. Not a like, a comment on today's video. I respond to every comment, and this is where I get my Jets interaction. So let's leave some more comments. Guys, let's hop right into today's video. I had a hard time coming up with bad and ugly things from this last game because I think we played a really, really good game. So any of these bad and ugly things, I'm kind of putting them there kind of because I have to for the video idea. But let's start with something good. That's the running game. The running game overall was much improved from what we saw in previous games and previous New York Jets games. I had talked about this before, and I want to see us run the ball a little bit more and a little bit more effectively. Today, or not today, but on Sunday, we were able to run the ball more, but we didn't run it effectively. That's why it's in the good, not the great column. The offensive line struggled to really creating holes for our running backs. It really came down to both of our running backs to create their own space and get the ball going. Now, Breece Hall was able to do that, but Michael Carter struggled with that, and part of that is because of the offensive line. Look at what Miami was able to do for Raheem Mostert, and I think the New York Jets have a better offensive line and a better running back, both of them, than Raheem Mostert. So we should be able to create the holes and the explosive plays that Raheem Mostert got for both of our guys. And the second good thing for me was Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson showed us improvement. And that's the important thing. I want to see improvement week to week, game to game. I don't want to see any regression. I don't want to see a sophomore slump, and we haven't seen that. A lot of players and a lot of people would have expected a bad game or something along that from Zach Wilson because there's a lot of Zach Wilson haters. But no, he threw no interceptions. I liked how he was playing and throwing the ball. I didn't really see any interception-worthy balls, like where he threw a really bad, dangerous ball. But he played really, really well, and as someone who used to be a quarterback, the one thing that I liked a lot, the growth that we saw from last game to this game, was the placement of the ball. Where he was putting the ball was much, much better. He was placing the ball in places where only his wide receivers can get it. The big play was the Elijah Moore incompletion where he kind of threw it in the dirt, but you could see the thought process there. He was going to have his wide receiver who was coming back down. He was going to throw the ball down and into the dirt to protect his wide receiver so that his wide receiver wouldn't take a big hit, and if the wide receiver couldn't get to it, it wouldn't create a turnover or an interception-worthy play because it was down in the dirt. Nobody could have gotten that except for Elijah Moore. Unfortunately, Zach threw about a yard too short, and that happens. Sometimes you miss, but 66% completion percentage, that is 1% short of what I want him to do for the entire year. I want him to be at 67%. That's my goal, because ultimately I want Zach to be good this year, not great. Next year is when he plays great. Love what I saw from Zach Wilson. Now let's go into the bad. And this one hurts me because I didn't want to put this player here in the bad. He is one of my favorite players on the New York Jets, and that's Michael Carter. Michael Carter was underwhelming today when asked to run the ball, like out in the open field. That's just what he was. He had 2 touchdowns today, both 1-yard runs in the red zone, on the goal line. Those are difficult runs to make, so absolutely respecting that. I'm not going to take that away from him. And I'm going to give him an excuse with the offensive line not really being able to create push for him. But when you get your opportunities, Michael Carter, you have to be better. 10 carries for 21 yards isn't good enough. And it's not like you were overcompensating that in the receiving game. You only got 2 catches for 12 yards. So Michael Carter's underwhelming performance, when you look at the total yardage, was obviously overcompensated by the fact that he got 2 touchdowns, which was awesome. But I want to see more from Michael Carter when he's given the ball. I think he is an absolutely spectacular running back, and that's why I hold him to such a high standard. And when he gives me a burger of a performance like this, I have to make note of it because I hold him in such high esteem. I really, really like Michael Carter. I didn't want to draft Breece Hall. I can't even believe I'm saying this, because of Michael Carter. Now, I'm thankful that both of these guys are on my football team, but Michael Carter You need to prove that I was right. I want you to be great. I'm not saying that I need you to be better than Brees because I think Brees ultimately is a better running back, but I love you and I want you to be a tandem. I want you to be two Batmans. I don't want you to be his Robin, you know. So I got to see Michael Carter do better when given his opportunities. And then the last bad is the way the defensive line started the game. And so what do I mean by that? If we saw that defensive line and how they played in the fourth quarter, a strip sack, a fumble recovery, a Quinnen Williams stiff arm into China and send Tyreek Hill home, like, this defensive line was absolutely insanely disruptive. Insanely disruptive. We were in the backfield constantly in the fourth quarter. Constantly. And the third quarter, if we're being honest. But they got off to an incredibly slow start. And the reason they're in the bad is because I know what they look like when they're on. We saw that in the third and the fourth quarter for this defensive line. They are insanely good. Now start that way. We can't have a ramp up, especially when we play really, really good teams. You can't have a ramp up against the Buffalo Bills. You can't have a ramp up against Green Bay. You can't have a ramp up against Denver. You got to show up on fire, and that's what I want to see from this team, this defensive line, and that's why they're in the bad quarter category. Let's talk about our two ugly things. I think the first thing that I got to talk about is the pass interferences. Now, I don't know if the pass interferences were bad calls by the refs or were actually pass interfering. Either way, that's absolutely ugly. If we're doing these pass interferences, we got to stop it. I know that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and I'll give them the excuse here, are some of the fastest receivers, and sometimes you got to play a little bit dirty to keep up with those guys. But we weren't giving up pass interferences before. We weren't giving up these kinds of penalties that are giving up massive, massive yardage. We got to stop that. If that's on us. If not, if it's the refs making bad calls, the refs got to be better because that was absolutely atrocious. You gave that team like 70, 80 yards on 3 different pass interference calls, which I think were a little bit light. And then the last ugly thing, it's got to be the black pants. Guys, I'm not a fan of the black pants. I think they look like they're wearing pajamas out there. I love the all white. If we're going to be playing in the white jerseys all year, I want to play in all white. Give us the white pants. I love the all whites. Or put the green pants on. I'm cool with the green pants. I'm just not a fan of the black pants. I understand why they're doing it, right? Because the black contrasts against the green a lot better. It's the same reason why we're wearing the white jerseys a whole bunch. The white contrasts against the green of the field a whole bunch. I get it. I'm not a fan of the black pants. Not a fan. I like our helmets. I even like our jerseys, like the new jerseys. Like, I'm a fan of. I don't like the black pants. Unless we're playing the black jersey. If we're in all black, I'm on board. But if you're giving me the black pants and the white jersey, not a fan. Not a fan at all. Now let's talk about the two great things. I think the first great thing that we got to talk about is we put up 40 points. That's it. We weren't supposed to go out there and blow out the Miami Dolphins. Nobody in the national media said that. Nobody on the game preview even said the Jets were going to win, let alone score 40 points. But we did it. Not only did we hold Miami under 20 with those 2 wide receiver threats, we put up 40. So I'm going to give credit to the whole offense. The whole offense was great, specifically the rushing game, right? For us to have 40 points and all of those touchdowns coming from rushing touchdowns, that's 5 rushing touchdowns. Absolutely great. And I was talking about this on the live stream that I did with on Jeremy's channel for the Buffalo Jet fan postgame live reaction. Is one of the things that this team struggled with, especially in the Pittsburgh game, and we struggled with it last year, specifically in like the Tampa game and things like that, the Carolina game, is that when we were winning or we were in the opportunity to win, we didn't go out there and just end the game. You know what I mean? We let the game finish, and then if we were on top, awesome, we got to win. This, a great example of that was Pittsburgh. We didn't really finish that game. We let the game just kind of end. This game, we finished it. We went out there and we finished this game. We were already stepping on their throats. We curve stomped. You know, like it's ending the game. And that's what we got to do is the Cleveland Browns thought that they ended the game on us, right? The announcers were putting up, hey, Cleveland moves on to 2-2, blah, blah, blah. And they were having this conversation and they were having these different talking points and all of this stuff. But Cleveland didn't end the game. They let us end the game. They let us come back and do what we did to win the game. That being said, this was the first game where we truly came out and ended it. We said, this is our house. This is our game. We're going to win, and we're going to undoubtedly win this game. We're ending it right here. And that was with 7 minutes left in the game. I loved that. And then the last great thing for this video, guys, is Breece Hall. 100 receiving yards, over 100 receiving yards, 100 rushing yards, a touchdown. The guy absolutely blew it up. He put the league on notice. I'm an elite running back. Watch out. You can't block me. You can't stop me. You can't bring me down. I'm a threat everywhere. Look out. I should have been a first-round pick, and I'm starting to agree with him. He is absolutely insane, and I cannot believe that we have Breece Hall on our football team, and Michael Carter, and Garrett Wilson, and Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore, and Braxton Berrios, and Zach Wilson, and Elijah Vera-Tucker. Guys, I love what we're seeing from this football team, from the youth. Let me know what you guys thought was good, bad, ugly, or great in the comment section below. And last but not least, go Jets.